knockout. Star Johnny Damon's brain-rattling collision. You've never seen impact like this before. No pain, no thanks. Brace yourself. It's time for sports science. Hardest hits. When it comes to picking the hardest hits, you have to lay down the law. Newton's law. Sir Isaac's second law says that force equals mass times acceleration, which is a mathy way of saying that when it comes to a hit, size and speed both matter. The question is, would you rather be hit by a big thing moving slowly or a little thing moving quickly? We'll start with a big thing, but the mass is enormous. Coming together at just over 1.5 miles per hour, this 700-pound collision generates 1,000 pounds of force. That's like having an entire pyramid of cheerleaders jump on your chest. Trust us, it's not as fun as it sounds. Okay, big things moving slowly. Got it. Now let's reverse the variables in the equation. What happens when the mass is small, but the acceleration is really fast? Pay attention. The answer is about to smack you right in the face. This is Quinton Rampage Jackson, world champion light heavyweight MMA fighter. He may not have the size of a sumo wrestler, but what he lacks in mass, his fist makes up in acceleration.
Nobody on this planet punch harder than me.
Rampage Jackson, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is have you hit an instrumented heavy bag that centers inside, and we're going to find out exactly how hard you punch. How do you punch so hard?
Me? I punch so hard?
Yeah.
Put my ass in it. What I'm doing is getting my ass behind it, and I'm bringing everything with all my weight. I just lunging.
Excuse me for flinching.
It's okay, baby.
Rampage cocks his fist back and goes, I'm going to flinch every time.
You should see his eyes.
Our heavy bag, used by the USA boxing team, is outfitted with special pressure sensors that will allow us, for the first time ever, to measure the power of Rampage's punch. How will the mass of Rampage's flying fist stack up to the classic art of sumo?
You ready?
The impact is staggering.
Nate, what were we seeing on that? Can you feel him staring at you?
I can. Yeah, there's definitely some data there.
Our cutting-edge motion capture technology from Vicon House of Moves takes us inside this punishing punch. There's a reason why Rampage Jackson wins over half his fights by knockout. A punch isn't about mass. The fist weighs little more than the brain itself, but he generates massive velocity. Enough to deliver 1,800 pounds of force and cause his opponent's brain to recoil back and forth in the skull. Kinda like having a teenage hippo sit on your head. Once again, not as fun as it sounds. But the fist is really the end of the story. Rampage's power starts in the ground. It's called kinetic linking. The energy starts in his feet, drives up through his legs, hips, and into the massive ripped muscles of his torso, core, and gluteus maximus. An energy chain about to explode through his fist. The biggest link in the chain? The biggest muscle. That's right, the gluteus maximus. Or put another way,
Put my ass in.
now that's a man who knows his science. Bottom line, the power that surges through Rampage's gluteus maximus and into his fist is almost double the sumo's impressive impact. Simply put, the small objects moving fast knock the crap out of the big objects moving slowly. Round one in our quest for the hardest hit goes to Rampage Jackson. Coming up on Sports Science, NFL greats Quinton and Joey Porter smash our state-of-the-art crash test dummy. Think this hurts? Try it without the pads. We'll tackle head trauma head-on as we go inside Johnny Damon's terrifying collision. Sports Science, hardest hits, will be right back. We're making the Sports Science list of the hardest hits in sports. Next up, getting hammered. You can't talk about the hardest hits in sports without including football and rugby. Both have plenty of opportunities to get absolutely hammered. But do any of these athletes really hit as hard as a hammer? A 10-pound sledgehammer swung by an average human at 10 miles per hour produces 1,000 pounds of force. So the question is, do the hardest hits in rugby and football generate as much force as a sledgehammer? Leading off the hit parade in our Sledgehammer Challenge is Southern California. In rugby, the most devastating hit comes when you get caught reaching for a pass. Arms up, body exposed. Hopefully there's a stretcher nearby, because there's a good reason this is called a hospital pass. Jammers. Twice. So the score, rugby 1, sledgehammer 0. Stacks up against the sledgehammer. We brought in one of them. The hardest hit in Jammer's repertoire is the hit across the middle.
In the automotive industry is you cannot exceed 75 millimeters or 3 inches. So from one impact from a football player, he generated almost 2/3 of the value that we limited in a car crash. So this guy, if I put him in a car, put a seatbelt, 35 mile an hour into a wall.
Hurtling his 200-pound body at 14 miles an hour, Quinton bulldozes into his opponent. The force generated is dispersed quickly throughout the offensive player's body, starting at the point of impact and spreading outward. Our sensors revealed that this hit generated 4,800 pounds of force. That's almost 5 times harder than a sledgehammer and more than double the impact of the rugby hospital pass.